Something really big is shifting in the collective right now. And one of the places we can see it is in Taylor Swift's latest backlash about her album release for The Life of a Showgirl. Her rise and her current fall perfectly show what happens when a 5-1 energy collides with the collective change that we're all going through right now as we move into the new era of 2027 and beyond. The old ways of marketing are no longer working. The old themes of having gurus and idolizing leaders is also going to fall down. And this moment is showing us both why and how. Before we dive in, if you love conversations that bridge human design, emotional intelligence, and the future of business, hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified of what's coming next. Hi, I'm Vanessa Naja, and I help heart centered entrepreneurs build businesses that feel good to run and make an impact. Through combining systems like human design, emotional intelligence work, and aligned business systems and technology, we put the draining, behind the scenes, repetitive, energy sucking work on autopilot so that you can actually focus on your zone of genius and do the work that you were actually born to do. So let's talk about the current Taylor Swift backlash and why it actually matters. Taylor Swift, one of the most beloved artists of all time, and the only musician to ever reach the $1 billion valuation mark based on music alone, meaning he doesn't own a lot of other businesses and brands that are not related to music. You can think of makeup, alcohol, all of these other ways that other celebrities have reached the $1 billion mark. Taylor Swift is the only one that has done it on music alone. And in the process, she has built an incredible fan base that will go to the bat for her over anything. Taylor Swift fans absolutely adore her. And for many years, she could do absolutely no wrong in their book. And with the release of her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, that seems to have shifted because her fan base is now divided. Some people absolutely love the album and others absolutely hate it. And her marketing strategy, which has worked for the longest time and is a huge reason why she is a billionaire, and I've recently even heard that with the release of this album, she crossed into the $2 billion valuation mark. That marketing is no longer working and people are seeing through it. And this very much relates to two important aspects in human design, and I will cover both of them. One of them is that Taylor Swift is a 5-1 human design profile. The other one is the change of eras that we are currently seeing, the change of global cycles into the era of the individual that we are officially crossing over into in 2027. And once we move past 2027, things are really shifting, and the collective is tired of the tactic-based marketing, the FOMO, fear-based marketing that we have been sucked into. And that is a big part of the change of the new era. Old marketing tactics, preying on fear and scarcity and FOMO, that stuff is not going to work anymore. Things that used to work in the past based on logic and specific systems and tactics, cookie cutter strategies that may have worked in the past are not working anymore, and they definitely will not be working in the future. And I'm curious if you have noticed this in your business. Are there any areas in your business that you have marketed in a very specific way that worked for a long time and they're not working as well anymore? Please drop a comment below and let me know any changes that you might be noticing. So let's talk about the 5-1 profile, which is Taylor's profile. It is also mine, so I know it very well. And in human design, your profile is also your public role. It's a huge part of how you express yourself, how you fulfill your purpose in whatever it is here to do in the world. Now, the 5 is known in traditional human design as the heretic. And they're also often known as the savior because they will provide out of the box solutions, often in times of crisis. And the 5 also is surrounded by a projection field. People with a 5 in their profile are often projected upon and are loaded up with expectations of what they can do for others or how they can save others. The one in the profile is the investigator. It is the authority that builds really solid foundations based on the information that they have gathered. You can see the 5-1 profile very clearly in Taylor Swift. She is often projected upon to be able to save even entire economies. In her Eras tour, Countries were asking her to come and visit them because it was so good for the economy. You could also see it in her marketing, which is very deeply researched. It is very systematic. She has built very strong and solid foundations through her marketing that have worked in this past global cycle that we are just finishing up. And she has created so many expectations for her fan base that when she meets them, they absolutely adore her and she is crowned. And one of the ways that she has done that is with the Eras Tour. The Eras Tour was an absolute, like, out of this world spectacle, like a concert tour nobody has ever seen before. And she absolutely nailed it, and people just worshiped her for it. The problem with the five is that the five can easily go from crowned to crucified when expectations aren't met. And according to a lot of her fans, that was exactly the case with the release of The Life of a Showgirl. When Taylor talked about this album and the way that she marketed it, she gave an expectation that the album was going to be very showgirl based. People were expecting a lot of, Vegasy, theatrical music, videos, things that really lived up to the artwork that she created for this album. And many fans don't believe that she actually was able to achieve that with the music on the album. She also said that the album was going to be full of bangers. And in my book, bangers mean songs that, like, you really want to dance to. You just have to dance. And think about songs like Shake It Off. Shake It Off was definitely a banger. And she has other bangers in her repertoire. However, a lot of her fans don't think that The Life of a Showgirl was full of bangers. And the backlash is really interesting because you do still have those hardcore fans that think it is like the best thing since sliced bread. They absolutely adore the album. But then you have the ones that absolutely hated it. In the past, Taylor Swift's fan base was so intense and almost like an army that if anybody spoke out against what she was doing, they would literally get death threats. So there were people with this album, there were people saying things like, this album was so bad that I didn't even get death threats from Swifties, Taylor Swift's fan base, when I talked about it publicly. And that is very telling. Now, if you look at commentary on a lot of, for example, YouTube videos and articles and things that have been done about this album, provided they are not necessarily mainstream media, because Taylor's PR team has a pretty good control over the mainstream media, so you won't see it that much on those types of posts. But if you look at independent people talking about this, you will see a lot of backlash on this last album and on her marketing in general. Now, this is a clear example of the 5-1 profile going from being crowned to crucified when they don't meet expectations. And for a lot of Taylor's fans, expectations, the ones that she had set for the album, were not met. The other place where Taylor is receiving a lot of projections is in the lyrics of the album. People have said all kinds of things about this album, and some of their, like, really out there ones are that she's now becoming a right-wing trad wife, because there are songs on the album where she sings about being excited to get married and have children with her fiance. And people are really reading into that she's now becoming right-wing and a trad wife. And that seems a bit much, but these are some of the projections she's getting. She's also getting some projections around potential racism within the lyrics of one of her songs, and all kinds of other rumors swirling out there around her writing of this specific album. And the thing with projection is sometimes projections are correct and sometimes they are incorrect. And really, the only person that knows if that projection is true or not is Taylor herself. She is the only one that knows which projections are correct for her and which ones are just pure fantasy that somebody else has come up with. If you are a 5-1, you probably know this feeling very well. People having expectations of you, absolutely adoring you if you meet those expectations, and the extreme disappointment and the fall from grace when you do not meet expectations. And I'd love to hear about your experiences with that. Definitely let me know in the comments if you're a 5-1 or you have a 5 in your profile, 2, 5, 3, 5, or 5-2. How has this shown up for you? And if this is resonating with you, please hit the like button because it allows me to share the message with more people. Now let's talk about the bigger picture here of the global cycle shift that we're currently experiencing as we move into 2027. So we have been living in an era for several hundred years that was very much based on logic, loyalty, tribalism, quid pro quo, this for that, being able to do things in very tactical ways, very strategic ways, people buying into that type of thing. We've also seen a lot of the adulation of gurus, of leaders, of people like Taylor Swift. And as we're moving past this cycle, past 2027, we're moving more to the era of the individual. In the era we're moving out of, there was a lot of hierarchy. I always talk about your boss has a boss, they have a boss, their boss's boss has a boss. It's really this level of hierarchy. And in this hierarchy model, Taylor is at the very top. As we move into and beyond 2027, things are flattening out more, and we're moving more into collaboration, really that shift of being your true self and making your unique contribution in the way that only you can make it. And as we make this shift, we're becoming more and more emotionally aware and emotionally intelligent. People are starting to sniff out marketing tactics that are not 100% pure. So, the example from Taylor Swift's marketing with this latest album, she released 28, as of the day of this recording, different variants of one album. And there are a lot of fans that feel the need to have all 28. You have the collectors, you have the people that are dealing with the fear of missing out. You also have the scarcity based marketing of, oh, this is only available for, 24 or 48 hours, just causing people to kind of urgent panic buy again and again and again. And an album that should have cost a person, I don't know, no more than 15 to 20 US dollars is literally costing, in the hundreds, if not $1,000 if they buy all the variants. And of course, the defense of this is always that people don't have to buy all of them. And that is absolutely true. People do not have to buy all of them. However, psychology works differently. And a lot of times people feel like, okay, I've already bought this many. There can't be that many more. I might as well just keep getting them so I have the full collection. And people are really fed up with this. Also, the amount of waste that is produced by having these many different variants, and people are seeing it as a true cash grab. And this is one of the reasons why Taylor Swift has become a billionaire just on her music alone, because where other artists might sell one album to one person, Taylor Swift can sell up to 28 different variations of the same album to one person. So, of course, she's always going to be dominating the charts if she's marketing that way. And one of the biggest things I have noticed in the backlash against her from her own fans is this type of FOMO marketing with all of these different variants that are just ever so slightly different. People are sick of it. They're really waking up to it. And this is a huge indication of the shift of the era into 2027, because that kind of marketing isn't going to work anymore. The marketing that will work is really like authenticity, like really marketing through sharing who you are at your deepest in a way that people can really relate to. And that is something Taylor Swift was really good at, because she didn't focus so much on her fan base and was very relatable. And it does seem in this last album that a little bit of that has gone missing. And again, people are no longer buying into the 28 different variants, which are extremely wasteful, not only in terms of the physical materials that are involved, but also in the money that her fans have to spend if they really want her full collection. We're really moving into this individuated world where authenticity is key. Have you noticed this in your own marketing? Where has this been shifting and changing for you? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. So, as an entrepreneur, the most important things to learn from this episode is to really listen to your own authentic self, to really follow and align with your values in your marketing and how you express yourself. And to remember that just being visible without actually being aligned can be quite dangerous, and there can be a big backlash. Now, I'm sure Taylor will recover from this. She has recovered from other crucifixions in the past, like what happened before her Reputation era. She can come back from this. And I do hope it is a lesson for her, though, especially around the way that she's been marketing her albums, because that stuff is not going to work anymore. So remember, when it comes to your marketing, authenticity, true connection, really sharing your true gifts and focusing on authentic leadership, which is supported by sustainable systems. If you want to learn more about your human design, Check out my free human design guide at vanessanaja.com/free guide to learn about your human design and how it works in business, your emotional intelligence, the fears that you might be prone to, and all of that good stuff. And to close up, maybe Taylor is not actually being canceled right now. Maybe she's just showing us the death of the old paradigm, the old era that is no longer working. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I will see you in the next episode.